Okay, cool. Well, hey, man, Dr. Arnold, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you, sir, for taking a minute out for the show.
You got it.
So let's begin our journey into your life with being an entrepreneur, an author, and a coach. I'm wondering with the pandemic, how did you get through that time period, and how many of those reverberations of that time period have lasted into the work that you do now?
Well, that is a good. Well, nobody's asked me that question before, and that's really good because the pandemic, it just left some more clues. As I was doing a lot of work from home and still working and coaching and small people, but I was also involved during the pandemic with a homeless services organization. So I was running a 50-bed facility at the beginning of the pandemic, doing all my other stuff and just trying to, give back to the community. And so I ended up staying at that facility. My wife has rheumatoid arthritis. We didn't know what was going on. I ended up staying at the facility for about 3 weeks, just making sure that she was okay and didn't come home. And we lost a couple, folks that had been experiencing homelessness that were in our facility. So that was, traumatic for the folks that were there. But it just kind of let me know even more. And I think that's where I kind of realized, am I doing enough, or am I putting a Band-Aid on? How can we make sure that folks are not experiencing homelessness the best that we can, but not just helping folks that already are, that are, okay, you've been out on the street, you've gone through mental health issues or not, you're struggling to find what was the root cause of why you're here. And then what can I begin doing with folks to make sure that they're not there? And there was a disproportionate amount, at least in our facility, of people of color that were experiencing homelessness, that, compared to the numbers in society. In my facility, out of the 50 beds that we had that I was running, I would say 40 of them were people of color. And saying, okay, so what happened? Was it you didn't have, was it your childhood? Was it, your military experience? What are some of the reasons that you were there? And that began what is now what I call Journey to Freedom, which is about trust and about, I'm working with Black men now. I'm interviewing on my podcast, anyways, over 100 Black men this year in 2024, just to kind of realize, if you're stuck, why are you not moving forward? And then what are some of those things that we can do to help you achieve some of the things? Because, if we look at all the folks that have come before us and all the things that they've done, why are we still, not moving and progressing? And I'm not saying that America has been the best, place for Black men in the last 400 years, because it hasn't.
Right.
But it's the best time in history that we have opportunities that we've never had before. And so we need to make sure that we're taking advantage of those the best that we can and becoming the people that we need to be in order to do the thing that God put us on this earth to do. And that's not just exclusive to people of color. It's just, it's a community that I'm part of and a community that I'm in. But the overall arching my life's work now, or my purpose, is how do I help people become that person before they go? You think of, there's lot, especially right now, we're bombarded with so much information, and you have like the Tony Robbins of the world and the Les Browns of the world and the Dryers of the world that can give you some really good information. But if you're not ready for them, and you go to, I don't know if you've ever been to a Tony Robbins, event,
No.
but you get excited, you get home and you go, okay, now what? I have no clue what to do other than be excited, because I'm not that person. I wasn't ready to go spend 3 days with Tony Robbins and get all hype. And the people who do, that are ready, their businesses take off, their world takes off, and they become extra special, or and enjoying life. And then you have thousands of people who go there and go, oh man, that was so good. It was one of the most enjoyable places in my life, but I didn't move forward.
Yeah.
And so, how do I help people become that person that they need to be? And so, we talk about trust, faith, health, finance, and identity as as part of the podcast and what we do and how we move forward. And I wrote a couple books. The first one was called There Is No Tiger, which is all about overcoming overthinking. Because I think one of the biggest things that stops people in their tracks is trying to control a future that you have no clue what's going to happen. And yet we spend all this time. And what's super unique about that future we try to control, we don't try to control the positive parts of that future. Like my wife's going to love me so much that I'm not going to know what to do. You know, my kids are going to be there. You know, I'm gonna get a job. I'm going to make all this money, and we don't spend that time overthinking that. We overthink. Oh, you know what? If I don't go to a job, then they're going to fire me. If they fire me, then I'm not going to be able to take care of my kids. I'm not going to take care of my kids. Then my wife's going to leave me, and my wife's going to leave me. Then I'm going to end up homeless, and I'm not going to be able to take care of anybody. And people literally go through that almost on a daily basis of all the negative things that could possibly happen in your life that's going to stop you from becoming. And so that book kind of talks about things to avoid that overthinking syndrome. And then I wrote another one called The Decision Formula that's going to come out at the beginning of next month, and that's just 5 easy steps to making decisions. Trying to talk about reversible decisions, irreversible decisions. Why are you waiting? Kind of goes along with There Is No Tiger, and the biggest reason people don't make decisions that'll change their life is because they're worried about, well, what if it doesn't work?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you spend your whole life there, then you're not getting to where you want. And so that's kind of where my life journey is right now. I think of being a professor and a teacher and all the things that I've done. And I think I'm in the best part of my life right now. The
Right
best
on.
part of what can I do to make a difference in people's lives. And, I'm enjoying it. And I have 8 amazing kids and
Wow.
16 grandkids now.
Wow.
And so
Good
they're all
job.
doing their thing and all over the place. They're all grown. You might hear in the background, she might scream in a minute, but one of the granddaughters is here. She comes over every day and, mom goes to work and yeah, we just handle life. So, because there's so much of it left to live
Yeah,
for.
absolutely. So let's get to the heart and soul of all of these things that you've mentioned that you do, from podcasting to being an author to being an advocate and helping people. If I put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids at career day, let's say third graders, and one of the kids in the room's curious and is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
And I would say I help people become the best they can be. I
Yeah.
think that's what I would say. No matter what I'm doing, no matter that's what I would tell them I do. Do you want to grow up and help people? Yeah, well, you got to grow up and have some experiences first. And so why don't you go try being a fireman and a policeman and maybe be an entrepreneur at some point, own your own business. And my wife has an embroidery business, and our basement's got people in and out all day long. But yeah, so but my job now, if I were to show up a career day with my grandchild, it would be I help people become the person that they need to be so they can have an amazing life. And
Yeah. So what did you want to be? What when you were in the third grade, what was your dream?
so this is great, and I'll just jump forward because I wasn't going to college.
Yeah.
College was not going to happen for me because I was going to be a stuntman. That's
Yeah.
all I wanted to do. That's all I was going to do. And I just happened to be a pretty good athlete. I was a special ed kid that they told me I was never going to amount to anything, and I wasn't going to be able to have a job. I shouldn't go to college. And I'm like, cool. I don't want to go to college anyways. I was a gymnast for freshman sophomore year, and then I grew. So I turned. I did football and track, and so. And I got track scholarships. And my mom said, please, Brian, if you will just go to college, because at that point, right, go to school, get a good education, you'll get a job and you'll fulfill your life. At that point, she wasn't going to stuntman is going to be a great life for you. And she says, if you just go to college, I'll buy you a Jeep. And at that time, right, I'm a senior in high school, and I'm like, all I really want is a Jeep, right? I want a Jeep and I want to be a stuntman. And so a Jeep trumped it. I think the problem was I went to junior nationals between my senior year because I hadn't picked a college after I graduated, and I went to junior nationals like in June, right after my high school year, and I won junior nationals, and so that now I'm like, well, I like running. This is fun. This is a good time for me to be able to do stuff, and so I said, okay, I'll go to college and we'll see what that's about, but I had to pick a college in California, right? The closest one I could find to Burbank, so that I could figure out how to be a stuntman, and then it didn't work out, but.
So, what were the foundational seeds that were planted into you to become a motivator, an entrepreneur, someone that helps people? What were those things? Where were you born and raised? How did that happen?
Yeah, no, so I was born in Denver, Colorado. I think my faith in church and working in ministry and that kind of stuff was something that was fun. I was able. My grandma grew up on a reservation in Oklahoma, Choctaw Reservation in Oklahoma, when I was, not when I was little, but I mean when she was little, and then because of circumstances, moved out to California and hid from the nation. Or not from the nation, from the people that she hurt or her brother hurt. That's a crazy story where her brother, I think he killed the white man back in, the 30s or something like that. And so they had to flee. And so because they were looking for my grandma and his brother, so my grandma kind of changed her name. My mom's birth certificate says she's Ethiopian, because that's the only country that my grandparents knew that was in Africa that would be part of the black side instead of the Native American side. But my grandma's name is Golden Mesa.
Okay.
And so Golden Mesa and her brother's name is Nebraska. So Nebraska and Golden Mesa from Ethiopia. So we know that those things don't work out. But I got to go serve on the reservation when I was in junior high and high school. I got to, spend time really, going, okay, how do I, do ministry or help people or do stuff young in life? And I think that kind of started it. And then I got into education. Why did I get into education after I graduated? Because I wanted to be there for kids and help kids. And then I started my coaching career. So I've been coaching track now for 38 years, and being there for athletes. In fact, one of the podcasts that I did not too long ago, I get on and it's one of my athletes that, when I first started teaching 30 years ago, and he's telling me, you made a difference in my life, coach. You did, you said some of the things that were, made me become the man that I am. And so we had kids living at our house, all that kind of stuff. So I think it kind of just jumped on each other and moved up and just continued this theme of how do I help people no matter what I'm doing, because you don't become a teacher to make a whole lot of money. But then I needed to make money, right? I have 8 kids.
Yeah.
So that's when I got a mortgage company and did financial services and realized that I could help people, with other stuff, with their businesses and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of where we get to today is, how do I do the same things that I love doing? And I'm living in purpose. And I
Yeah.
think, when I think of success, success isn't the amount of money you have or the material things you have or the fame that you have. Success is, are you living in purpose of why God put you on this planet? And are you doing what he did? And if you are, then you are making a difference. And
Yeah.
so, and if, to me, serving others is how you do that. But I believe I'm living in purpose, and I have been, I think, most of my life. And so it's been a great journey. Obviously there's not every time is a great time, but
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
2008 hit, right? When
Yeah.
I had a mortgage company. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
So let me ask you this. You have to give a lot of yourself to coach and teach and help others, but you need help as well. And I ask, who is that inspiration? Who is that motivator, that hero for you in your life?
gotcha. I think a lot of it was those coaches and people and associations that I've had that have helped me along the way and helped me through my journey. My college coach was an amazing man that, just when I was a knucklehead and trying to run away from practice and head over to do stunt school and that kind of stuff, he kind of set me right. And so there's just been some mentors and people in my life who have been able to guide me. And I think if success leaves clues, that's one of the clues is who are your associations, who are you hanging around with. If you're the smartest man in the room over time, then you're in the wrong room. You always have to be seeking and looking for other folks that you can be around that can help you. My family has been, a huge emotional support for me, right? They've supported me, in all my crazy endeavors when they were kids. Obviously kids don't complain; they just do what you do. But as long as I was showing up to all their stuff, they were like, "Dad, go do what you got to do," cheering me on, making it work for me to be able to do that. And then, my parents are just as, I guess, thankful to them as well, for just, giving me experiences. I think that's where we kind of lack sometimes. If you don't have enough experiences, you don't know what you really love.
Yeah.
And so whether it was learning how to water ski or snow ski or, I'm an extreme sports type guy. So I used to race dirt bikes and, all that kind of stuff, jump out of planes, bungee jump. I'm not bungee jumping no more. I'm not, I'd probably go skydiving again, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm definitely not getting on a dirt bike. I'll get on some water skis because when you fall in the water, it does not hurt near as much as it hurts when you fall off a motorcycle.
So let me ask you this. You know, you'd mentioned Tony Robbins, you've mentioned some names. If there's anybody that's alive on the planet right now that you find fascinating, that you could hang out with, ask questions, and like better yourself being around them for a little bit to know what they do, who would that be?
There's a person that I've been communicating with now. His name is Myron Golden.
Yeah.
And Myron is an African American gentleman who's, a business teacher, but he teaches from biblical perspectives. And I don't know, he's 63, 60, something like that. And so the more time right now in my life that I can spend with him and learn from him and grow from him is where I want to be. That is just one of those people. I guess another one would be John Maxwell. I think he's a little bit. I don't know if I'm in his league now where he would spend a whole bunch of time with me or anything like that. And so, but if I could, I would just hang out with him because if there's a person on the planet that I think serves more people, that is humble, that says, "Hi, I'm John and I'm your friend," and then just has all these knowledges that are in there, especially when you think about leadership and you think about, leading and making others go. Those would probably be the two people alive on the planet right now that I would absolutely spend tons of time with.
So let me ask you this. What is that ultimate motivator for you every day to wake up and to do this work? Because you have to give a lot of yourself, but you're a person that needs to grow and evolve yourself. How do you parlay the time and what is that ultimate energy every day that makes you operate at a high level and to be you?
I guess since I'm an extrovert, I feed off and I get energy from people. And the more people that I can do stuff with and help and see excel, the more energy that I get. Now, obviously, there's times of rest, and there's times that I need to go on vacation, and times that I need to spend, with my wife and with my kids. And I would tell you, my grandkids. Right now, even it's so funny because I do these podcasts, and I'm going to do three or so today, and you're talking and you're learning from people, but then my granddaughter will come over here and give me a hug, right? And so it doesn't matter how much I do with them. That hug from a 3-year-old that just comes in is worth its gold. And so can I on Sunday I went to one of their wrestling matches and got to spend time and I like I said I was doing these podcasts, so I started it. We call it the A Tribe is our little family unit, and so I did an A Tribe Kids podcast. So I keep interviewing the kids as they get older and talking to them, and we just sit in amongst family. And so I got to talk to little Sadie on Sunday, and she was telling me all what she's doing in school and how she adds and does arithmetic. And I asked her what's 3 plus 3, and she, which is just to me that's the energizing
Yeah.
stuff. Right? That's the stuff you get up and go, this is why I get to get up every day. This is why
Yeah.
I get to do stuff. And, to say that I just want to go sit and read a book and hang out. I mean, I enjoy reading, but I read most of the stuff that I read is so that I can help others. I don't get a whole lot of energy from just hanging out by myself and, seeing the beauty of the world that, if I go on a walk every day for 3 miles and I listen to podcasts while I'm doing it. But if I could walk with somebody, that would be way more energizing, but nobody's wanting to get up and go on this walk with me. So, and it's cold right now. So you're in Kansas City, so
Yeah.
it's like some of these mornings are like 16, 17 degrees. And so I don't need a cold plunge.
Yeah.
I just I just go
I get
outside
it.
and go for a walk. In the
Totally.
summer it might be good, but yeah, no, I don't need it now. My face is all frozen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get so however I can communicate and I know a lot of people who are watching this are not are not extroverts, are not folks that energized from being around people. And so I would my advice to you would be you need to find that place where you can get energized. If that is sitting down writing a book, then or reading a book or just being by yourself and taking a walk, do it every day.
Yeah.
Because self-care is so important, and find and know exactly what it does to energize you and what you need to do to get on top again, and then you're back at it every single day. So serving others, I think, does it. I think God just programmed us that way. When we're serving others, we have more energy. Even if you're an introvert, if you
Yeah.
find a way to serve others, you still get
Yeah.
to see people.
That's
Yeah.
been one of my favorite things that I ever did was interviewing my son, who's 20
Mhm.
now. We would always do podcasts throughout his life. And to hear his voice and the ideas and all of that, it's just been so much fun. Um, Yeah, I mean, in this modern era where you can do anything, capturing those moments of your
Oh yeah.
kids, man, forget about it. It's
Oh,
great.
I know. My oldest son works for Pixar. And
Oh,
so
cool.
we all get to go to Disneyland. We all get to do all these fun things.
Nice.
And then, when movies come out, we kind of try to all watch them together, even though we're on different parts of the country. He'll never leave Pixar's in Oakland, California. So he'll never leave Northern California because he loves his job so much.
Yeah.
But it's so neat to have somebody kind of in that entertainment side that's
Yeah.
able to do that. So.
That's cool, man. So let me ask you this. Of everything that you've done, of all
Mhm.
of these things that you've evolved into at this point, what are you the proudest of?
My kids. I'm
Yeah.
proudest of being the dad that I've been able to become. If all the things, if I were able to get rid of everything that I'm doing, I don't think I could get rid of, the things that I'd get to do with my kids
Yeah.
and just being that dad, being that grandpa, and knowing what that's going to take me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being a great husband, trying to be a great husband. Honey, you got to wait, honey.
Yeah, now you're good. We're almost done. Hi there. How are
Hey,
you?
hi.
Hi.
Okay, so go see Nene, okay? Go, and I'll be right there. She figured out how to open the door and
That's
everything.
it. It's all good. Yeah, she just had to see you. That's good. Um,
Yeah.
so I got one more question for you.
Okay.
Everyone out there has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
That's a great question because as I think of who I am, I'm the man who is trying to be better every single day.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who gets to look in the mirror and say, God, thank you for putting me here. Now, what can I do to help? And so I'm not the perfect man. I fail all the time, but I'm that guy that you can say, if I need an example of somebody who's putting in the work, that's me.
Yeah.
Am I the example of I put in the work and it all just bangs and happens right away? I'm not that guy because that hasn't all just happened. But I'm the guy who perseveres. I'm the guy who is not afraid to keep trying and getting up, falling down, getting up, falling down, willing to fail. Example of somebody who's, hey, I'm going to try this and I'm going to keep going and until I hit whatever those goals are. I'm going to do a goal setting workshop on the 31st that we're in. If you're watching this in 2024, we're at the beginning of this about 15 days. On the 31st, I'm doing a goal setting workshop for anybody who wants to come. It's a free one that we're going to talk about goal. If you only focus on your goals, you're going to struggle. So we're going to talk about what do you have to do? What are those activities and those things? And so that's how I see myself as that teacher, that professor, that guy who's going to help walk you through what it is you need to do. And you're gonna see an example of somebody who's not sitting down waiting for things to happen. That is doing
Absolutely.
whatever you can to make things happen. Yeah.
So if anyone wants to tune into your podcast, get your books, hire you, any of the good business, good work in your world, where do they go?
They go to bryanearnold.com. That's BRIANE, as in Edward, bryanearnold.com. There's another Brian Arnold out there that if you show up on the Ninja Warrior guy, that's him. That's not me. I'm not that Brian Arnold, but there's a lot of Brian Arnold. So if you go to bryanearnold.com, everything I do is on there. You'll be able to see, take out whatever you need and get, yeah, it's all there. So.
I love it. Dr. Arnold, this has been wonderful. Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful holiday season, the best 25 ever. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I just appreciate being able to come out and talk and share my life. And I hope it, wherever your guests are, wherever people are, that somehow what we said today helps them to move forward because they're God's greatest gift. He loves them if you allow them to. And I can't wait to work with any of you if we ever get the opportunity. Thank you.
Right on. That's been wonderful. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day.
Take care.